So, okay, good afternoon. I want to thank the organization for this invitation to participate in this Congress. I'm going to speak about the scientific evidence of strength development using inertial devices. The first question that we need to do is why must use eccentric overload training? When you use traditional concentric and eccentric resistance exercise, you have a problem. The eccentric phase of the movement is clearly underloaded. For example, about 40 to 50% of the concentric phase. However, different studies have shown the critical role of the eccentric phase of the movement to improve contractile characteristics and muscle size. Moreover, it seems reasonable to believe that applying eccentric overload in resistance training, we can increase force production ability. We have different methods to produce eccentric overload training. For example, controlling and adjusting the time or velocity of concentric and eccentric movement during resistance training, using assistant or devices for moving or raising the load during the concentric phase, and employing isokinetic dynamometers. As far as I know, one of the first studies using inertial devices was conducted in the Laboratory for the Physiology of Gymnastics in the University of Copenhagen in 1923 by Hansen and Linder. These authors measured different force curves during bicep contraction. Authors referred to a previous paper using a stationary bike connected with inertial device in the same laboratory. This is a work with August Kroll. This is the father of the inertial concept. However, if we search in internet, we can find other device, a previous device, the Gymnasticon, a flywheel device invented in 1796 by Francis Lodes. The current inertial concept was designed by Baer and Tech in 1994 to counteract the effect of microgravity in atrophy and bone loss, for example, in space trip. Such technology presents one of the most used paradigms related to eccentric overload in resistance exercise. In this sense, during the concentric phase of the movement, the force applied unwinds a cord or a strap connected to the shaft with the flywheel, with the charge to rotate and store energy. This kinetic energy will increase as a function of the rotational speed. Once the concentric phase of the movement is completed, the cord, the strap, rewinds, and the subject, the player, must resist the pull of the flywheel by performing a braking. This is the eccentric phase of the movement. The next question that we need to do is, what are the effects of eccentric overload training on lower body, muscle mass, and force? Different studies and works in this line present a mean workload for 4 sets with 7 repetitions during 1 to 3 sessions per week by 5 to 15 weeks. These studies have shown different results, different improvement with this methodology, from 5 to 15% in muscle mass, from 11 to 39% in maximum voluntary contraction, from 12 to 25% in 1 repetition maximum, from 21 to 90% in eccentric force, from 10 to 33% in muscle power. Regarding specific related sport tags, different different studies have shown improvement from 6 to 15% in jump ability and from 2 to 10% in running speed. Normally, eccentric overload training is related with muscle damage and fatigue. This may be a problem when you work with professional football players, because after the strength session, they need to play or to work in the pitch, and they have a match every 3 or 4 days. In this sense, Fernando Gonzalo showed us the first session in a strength program with this methodology. The program produced, or the session produced, a significant increase of creatine kinase after 24, 48, and 72 hours. However, when the subject were adapted to the training, the dotted line, they didn't show muscle damage. This is important because you need that player can adapt it to the strength training with inertial overload. This is with our research group. We work with we did this work with soccer players, with football players, adapted to strength training with inertial devices. We analyzed the effect of the acute effects of one session of this type of inertial training with 20 male football players with the yo-yo half squat exercise, 4 sets with 60 repetitions. We did the test before and after the strength session. Sorry. And we measure the sprint test and the change of direction ability in a force platform. After the strength training with this methodology, we observed a greater performance in sprint test, a greater performance in kinetic parameter during the change of direction, and we didn't observe acute fatigue. This is important because if the player are adapted to this type of exercise, you can use before the training on the pitch and before the matches. Other important question is what are the effects of eccentric overload training on performance and injury prevention in team sport. We are working in this line. We did this both work. We analyzed the effect of 10 weeks of eccentric overload training with 2 exercises, the yo-yo leg curl and the half squat exercise. And we analyzed the effect on performance and injury prevention. In this sense, results showed an improvement in jump ability, in acceleration, and in kinetic parameter during change of direction test used. Moreover, we observed a possibly lower muscle injury incidence in matches and a likely lower injury severity. This is important because we have the possibility to work the performance and the preventive work with the same exercise. In this line, recently, Gonzalo's code analyzed the effect of 6 exercises, only one set with 6 to 10 repetitions. In other device, inertial device, this is a versa pulley device. These 6 exercises, this is back step, lateral step, front step, front crossover step, lateral crossover step, and lateral squat. After the 8 weeks, authors show us improvement in change of direction ability, in acceleration, and in jump test. Now we are working with this methodology in our club. We have a smart coach system connected with our different devices. Player, and we got central computer where we prepare the specific strength training session, and analyze the result after the work. Each player has a bracelet. The player passes over this sensor and choose the exercise and perform it. We can select different parameters like power, speed, and player has immediately feedback about the exercise. The film is possible. This is an example for this methodology. Okay. This is a front step. This is performance exercise and preventive work, both type. For hamstring. Okay, thank you for listening.